As you know, they've been calling it the miracle on the Hudson, and in this digital age, you just knew that somebody had to have some video of U.S. Airways Flight 1549. Someone did grab their camera, and they tracked the flight just moments before it crashed into the Hudson River. We'll have that story coming up next at 6. Also, just ahead, breaking news out of Long Beach tonight, where a married couple vanished while they were cruising to Mexico. So what happened on this Carnival cruise ship? It is a big mystery. And it's our top story tonight, just 3 minutes away on the Channel 4 News at 6 o'clock.
The inauguration of Barack Obama. All-day coverage with Today, Brian Williams, and the best of NBC News, plus a primetime special at 10/9 Central. The inauguration of Barack Obama, Tuesday on NBC.
Live from NBC4. This is the Channel 4 News at 6.
We join you tonight at 6 o'clock. We have breaking news out of Long Beach, and this involves this Carnival cruise ship. The FBI right now joining the search for a couple who vanished during a cruise to the Mexican Riviera.
Channel 4's Beverly White is live in Long Beach right now with more on this mystery at sea. Beverly.
Well, the cruise ship Paradise behind us in the darkness was supposed to depart at 5:30, according to the passengers with whom we spoke, but it's still here, and the FBI investigation is no doubt the reason why. They're searching for the couple who went missing sometime during this 4-day cruise, a cruise to Ensenada and Catalina, where the couple now missing and possibly presumed gone overboard. That's according to a statement from the cruise line, that is Carnival Cruise Line. Again, we're talking about a 90-year-old man and his 79-year-old wife, last seen on Tuesday. No record of them now. When the ship returned here to Long Beach, they were missing. We've got some video of the cruise ship that we captured before the sun set, and it is a beauty. 2,052 people on board for this particular 4-day excursion, but 2 are missing right now and again presumed overboard. We're talking about a couple whose stateroom door was found locked from the inside, the balcony door unlocked on the inside, and their personal effects inside. Their family members, we understand, have been contacted, and counselors are being provided by the Carnival Cruise Line. Again, we're talking about the Paradise, due to leave sometime tonight, but as of yet still tethered to the shore right here in Long Beach. Reporting live, I'm Beverly White. Back to you in the studio.
All right, Beverly, the other big story, there is a verdict in the corruption trial of Mike Corona, and the outcome, well, it even surprised Orange County's former top cop. Corona was accused of accepting bribes and kickbacks while he was the sheriff. Here's the breakdown. The count of conspiracy, not guilty. 3 counts of mail fraud, not guilty. And 2 counts of witness tampering. A split decision here. There was a guilty verdict in one of those charges. With more on the verdict and the reaction today, NBC4's Vicki Vargas live outside the courthouse in Santa Ana. Vicki.
Colleen, in all, it was 2 months of testimony, 6 days of deliberations, and in the end, the jury said they could not convict Mike Corona on the other 6 charges because they were too old to prosecute. Jurors said they raised their voices, they had disagreements, but they followed the law, and the evidence showed Mike Corona did not use his office for personal gain.
The good news is that God forgives people, and apparently I'm one of those people that he forgave and created a miracle around it.
Corona was found not guilty of conspiracy, not guilty of mail fraud or depriving the public of his honest services. In court, he began to weep. His wife, Debbie, started to sob. Then Corona collapsed on the defense table. The prosecution centered much of its case on former Assistant Sheriff Don Heidel. 2 months before the statute of limitations would have run out, he wore a wire and taped Corona during a 3-hour dinner at this restaurant.
I mean, look, I didn't want to run, Don. I wasn't going to run. I didn't know it gets to all this man.
The jury believed Corona was trying to get Heidel to lie to the grand jury. He was convicted on that 1 count.
I mean, we heard the tapes
over
20
and
times.
over and over.
Probably 20 times. Most of us, thought there was some evidence of tampering.
Prosecutors say there was a cash trail that led from Don Heidel to George Jaramillo and then to Corona. But Jaramillo never took the stand.
We would have wanted to hear from George Jaramillo, sleazeball or not, or liar, but it would have been a direct connection.
Other jurors said they followed the law with reservations.
Mike Corona did something. His hand was in the cookie jar. He was just smart enough to wipe his hand clean. That's my personal feeling.
Corona's attorneys say he will appeal the witness tampering conviction.
I can never bow my head because I didn't give it my very best effort to serve all of you They took the time to vote me into office. And for that, I'm appreciative.
Now, according to prosecutors, that single count carries with it a maximum of 20 years. They will all be in court next Wednesday to discuss the remaining cases against Deborah Hoffman and Debbie Corona. Live in Santa Ana, I'm Vicki Vargas, Channel 4 News.
It is still being called a miracle and perhaps a very miraculous feat of piloting. Tonight, we also have some new home video of that U.S. Airways Flight 1549 right before it crashed into the frigid waters of the Hudson River in New York. Now, this is videotape of the plane as it actually turns toward the Hudson River. It was taken by a witness who noticed the unusual flight pattern. Well, after the plane hit the water, both engines broke off the wings. Those missing engines right now are the focus of the investigation. Divers are going to try to locate the engine somewhere on the bottom of the river, and that's about 40 to 50 feet of water. The so-called black box and the flight data recorders are still inside the plane, which is tied up at a dock. In fact, the only thing visible as we take a look at this video one more time of the plane is it's kind of circling, and then it passes over the Hudson, just making that left bank and that really miraculous landing. Anyway, the plane is in the water there, as you can see, and they moved it over to a nearby dock where the left wing and part of the fuselage of the plane are the only things that are still showing. The pilot of the flight is being praised for his heroism and flying skills. Scully Skullenberg is a former fighter pilot, an Air Force pilot. He's also flies gliders, and he's been with U.S. Airways for about 30 years. He's not expected to speak publicly until he talks to the National Transportation Safety Board, but he did talk with his wife, who lives in Northern California.
We'd just like to say that we are very grateful that everyone is off the airplane safely. And that was really what my husband asked to convey to everyone. And of course, we are very proud of Dad.
Lori Skullenberg also says her husband is a pilot's pilot who loves the art of airplanes.
The pilots in the cockpit of that Airbus A320 reported a double bird strike during takeoff yesterday, forcing the crew to make that amazing emergency landing that we've seen. Like it or not, planes have to share the airspace with birds, and they are a problem. NBC4's Conan Nolan live at Bob Hope Airport tonight for us to show us what the airports here locally are doing to protect planes and passengers from those birds. Conan.
Catalina, it's been an issue here long before Howard Hughes and Amelia Earhart called this airport home when birds meet planes, usually either at takeoff or at landing. They've been looking at this very carefully. 3 times a day, they check the runways. If they see any kind of bird activity, they use horns, air guns, whatever they can to disperse them. But the entire issue has received a tremendous amount of attention ever since yesterday's incident along the Hudson River. In New York, it was a flock of Canada geese that sent a commercial jet into the Hudson River, a federally protected species that has caused concern around LaGuardia Airport for years.
They actually use falcons, trained falcons, to keep them off the runways.
Southern California airports have their own avian concerns. The region is part of the Pacific Flyway, with millions of migratory birds traversing as far north as Alaska and Siberia. Each airport, Bob Hope in Burbank, Ontario, John Wayne in Orange County, and LAX, must have a wildlife management plan. Los Angeles International is focused on the vacant area west of the airport, adjacent to Dockweiler Beach, just below the takeoffs. Federal wildlife biologists try to keep the area clear of rodents that attract birds. Researchers found that a balloon with owl-like markings are effective in scaring off flocks. Still, there are occasional incidents. In 2007, there were 39 reports of birds striking aircraft at LAX. Last year, 31 reports. No one was injured in any of the incidents. The airport conducts over 600,000 takeoffs and landings each year. But the airport with the biggest problem in the entire West is Sacramento, an airport in the middle of the Pacific Flyway and surrounded by rice paddies and wetlands.
They utilize the pyrotechnics, the auditory boxes that emit screeching sounds to deter the birds. They've mowed their fields to reduce habitat.
It's a serious matter. This YouTube video shows what can happen when a jet engine takes in a bird on takeoff. This happened in Manchester, England. The plane was able to land safely. Mayday, mayday, mayday. Interesting, several days before what happened on the Hudson River, the Sacramento Airport Authority asked a bill be passed to allow them to kill birds, perhaps shoot them, if they refuse any other tactic of leaving the runway. That is pending. Wildlife experts believe that is unnecessary, that there are other ways for airliners to share the sky with the birds. Conan Nolan, reporting live from Burbank Airport, Channel 4 News.
Thanks very much, Conan. Arson investigators remain on the scene tonight of a deadly house fire that occurred in Baldwin Village. 2 people were killed and 1 other was seriously injured. This fire occurred at a home on South Redondo Boulevard, and it was reported just after 1 o'clock this morning. As NBC4's Gordon Tokumatsu reports, there are still many unanswered questions about the source of the fire.
Neighbors say they heard the screams first. The lady of the house at 3856 South Redondo Boulevard doubled over in pain, says Trudy Williams, who lives 2 doors down.
She was there and she was just saying, oh, he's trying to burn my house. He's trying to burn my... And she was all burned.
Witnesses say smoke was billowing from beneath the awnings, flames shooting through a large hole in the roof. Then, hysterical with pain, the woman told them something chilling.
And she was saying, my husband and my daughter are still in the house. And that's all I know.
Firefighters battled window security bars as well as the flames to get inside, but it was too late. They found 2 adults dead at the scene. Their identities not released yet by the LA County Coroner's Office. By late morning, arson investigators had moved in, checking theories that someone had set the fire. For what reason, still unknown. Crime scene detectives are also here trying to determine who the woman was referring to when she said he was setting the house on fire. Someone she knew or a stranger. This afternoon, neighbors watched as a pile of charred debris formed in the front yard where hours earlier they saw the woman taken away in an ambulance. 2nd and 3rd degree burns, her condition critical.
She was just burnt.
Like her hands?
Her hands were burned very badly.
Arson turning to homicide in Baldwin Village. Late today, LAPD had no suspects in custody. Gordon Tokumatsu, Channel 4 News.
2 of the biggest banks may be on the brink of collapse once again.
Plus, there's a big sell-off at Circuit City. Details just ahead. Here's Fritz.
Oh, we'd love to have a weekend like we've had a day today. We might, but beyond that, even better news, a chance of rain. We'll talk about it in my Live Weather Plus forecast just ahead.
Tonight at 11, it's America's biggest bash ever, and the inauguration is drawing millions, including a who's who of top recording artists. From the ritzy balls to the rockin' parties, from rap to rock to jazz to orchestras. The lineup tonight on the Channel 4 News at 11.
All right, Fritz is here with a look at the weather. He was actually dusting off the little rain icons at 5 o'clock.
No.
So let's see. How do they look now, Fritz?
We had to buy them back from eBay because we never thought we'd have an opportunity to use them again this year. We're so happy to be able to report to you a whopping 20% chance of something happening next Wednesday, but we have to kind of reverse the weather pattern first. And we'll do that. First, let's look at Friday's highs. Couple of records, San Luis Obispo at Cal Poly and down in Chula Vista. No place really close to town here. Downtown was 83, beautiful temperatures though. Long Beach 82, Pomona at the Fairplex was 85. Up in the Antelope Valley, Lancaster at 67, 82 at Anaheim and Riverside, 79 degrees. What we're looking at is really a continuation over the weekend of what we've had. And to refresh your memory, the National Weather Service has this red flag warning in effect until 8 o'clock tomorrow night. That's the mountains and the valleys of LA and Ventura County. The fire danger will go slowly away. The temperatures will remain unchanged over the weekend, just under 80 degrees in the coastal spots, but slowly will cool off. And by the middle and latter part of next week, we'll have fairly close to normal temperatures. Offshore flow, dry and warm, a beautiful weekend. Sunshine even at the beach, just under 80, lovely. Red flag alert drops at 8 tomorrow. Have a high surf advisory though, Ventura, LA, and Orange County coast. This is an increased west swell, 5 to 7 foot breakers, some sets 8 to 10. And we've got cooler days coming, 60s and 70s, very close to normal by Tuesday. And the slight chance of rain, we've upped it by 10%, 10 to 20%, the window Wednesday through Friday. And even if we get it, it will be a light event. Upper 40s, low 50s overnight, 26 in the Antelope Valley, Apple Valley 32. Look at these highs. We're just below 80 in the warmer inland valleys. For instance, San Bernardino, 78, Ontario, 79. Over 80 still, a little closer to Burbank here into the San Gabriel Valley. We'll go 81 at Glendale, straight south to downtown Los Angeles, Simi, Thousand Oaks, Oxnard, Woodland Hills, all that number, 73 degrees at Santa Clarita. Here's a look now at the 7-day outlook for LA, Ventura, and Orange counties. And we're going to see just relatively unchanged circumstances over the weekend. Wednesday to Friday, we have that 10 to 20% chance of rain. And that would just be a lovely thing to sort of counteract the effects of 2 weeks of very dry weather.
All righty, we'll look forward to it. And now we go over to the far corner where Mario's standing by to tell us what's coming up in sports.
Hey, Chuck, thank you. How much would you pay to read Kobe Bryant's blog? Another head coach fired in the NFL. Plus, the Lakers get ready to face a hot shooting Orlando team at Staples. Well, it's no secret injuries are a part of life in the NBA, and lately the Lakers have had their fair share of players going down. Yet now things are looking a bit brighter as Luke Walton and Sasha Vujacic are likely to play tonight against Orlando. Walton's been out about 3 weeks with a bum knee. Sasha missed the last 2 games with back spasms. As for playing the Magic, the Lakers will have to watch out for the three-point shooting. That's because Tuesday in Sacramento, Orlando set an NBA record going 23 of 37 from long distance in a blowout win over the Kings. One of the reasons the Magic have the 3rd best record in the NBA at 31-8.
You know, their record speaks for itself, and, you know, we'll have to be ready to play tonight. You know, this team beat us down in Orlando on a good, hard-fought game, and we want to try and get that game back and split the season series.
You got to pick your poison and hope that you can stop, you know, layup situations or easy baskets and make guys shoot with a hand in their face on the three-point line. Can't give up both. Can't be over-committed to either the three-point or the post-up game.
In other Laker news, Kobe Bryant has just signed a multi-million-dollar deal with the Chinese web company Sina.com. The deal gives China's most popular athlete his own portal, which will include a blog that Kobe's expected to update several times a week. The company will charge a $50 subscription fee to read the blog and access other premium content. To baseball, where former Dodgers right-hander Derek Lowe was officially introduced by the Atlanta Braves after signing a 4-year, $60 million deal. Lowe went 54-48 in his 4 seasons in L.A., but left because he felt the Dodgers were not willing to field a playoff-winning team. Angels certainly are willing to field a playoff-caliber team, and today agreed on a 1-year deal with pitcher Darren Oliver, thus avoiding arbitration. With the agreement, the Angels have 4 players who are still eligible for arbitration. They are Irvin Santana, Mike Napoli, Mike Sturris, and Rob Quinlan. Surprising news from the NFL, where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers decided to fire head coach John Gruden and GM Bruce Allen after the team failed to make the playoffs following a 9-3 start. Gruden spent 7 years in Tampa, winning the Super Bowl back in 2003 when he beat his former team, the Raiders. Gruden becomes the 5th head coach to be fired since the regular season ended a few weeks ago. To the ice we go. Ducks in Pittsburgh taking on the Penguins. No Sidney Crosby for the Pens, no problem. Matt Cook filling in nicely. First period, Cook shoots it past J.S. Jaguar, 1-0 Pittsburgh. Cook was sizzling in this one. Ryan Whitney's shot bouncing off Jiggy in this play. There's Cook for the putback score, his 2nd of the game. Right now in the 3rd period, Ducks trail 2-1. All right, that's it for us. Guys, back to you.
Thanks very much, Mario. The final episodes of the Peabody Award-winning remake of Battlestar Galactica will begin airing tonight, but with production on the series already wrapped, you've now got a chance to own a part of science fiction history. NBC4's Carrie Berglund has the story.
Get it with the gun camera. Hit override.
Battlestar Galactica is a sci-fi series that documents the last of humanity fleeing enemies and searching for a new home. Now, as the series approaches its finale, the costumes and props for the show are searching for their new homes, as the first weekend auction of the very great and the very small are going to the highest bidder.
Thank God they're going to go out to fans who love them, who appreciate them.
The Battlestar fans are a devoted group, something that the people at NBC knew in advance, but when word of the auction got out, it took on extraterrestrial proportions.
You know, when you take your favorite television show and there's not many opportunities to actually have a piece of that show that you can take home with you, God, these fans are so dedicated that no, we're actually not surprised. We have so many registered bidders already.
And then there are fans like Dana Gasser, who spent 3 years recreating one of the uniforms. And he realizes that some people may say,
"You're crazy. Why would you ever do that? What do you get out of it? It's a challenge."
But there is a reason why sci-fi fans are so devoted. The head of PropWorks, the auction house running this show, is also a fan.
I think it's about passion. I think there is also sci-fi shows that I think tend to have the type of stories that are story arcs that last many, many episodes. So it draws you in.
The auction here at the Pasadena Convention Center is both Saturday and Sunday. But if you can't make it here, you can watch and bid online at auctionnetwork.com. And if you're outbid this time, don't worry, you'll have 10 more chances. There will be 10 eBay auctions that will take place as the last 10 episodes of the series air on the Sci-Fi Channel. In Pasadena, I'm Carrie Berglund, Channel 4 News.
I wonder if he's the last Cylon. What do you think?
Well, I don't know.
We'll find out. If your cell phone bills are keeping you up at night, you might consider switching to a company that's offering unlimited calls, texts, and web browsing for $50 a month. The deal is being offered by Boost, the prepaid division of Sprint. The service is being provided over Sprint's older and slower cell phone network. Some analysts are seeing this as the start of a price war. Cash-strapped customers may find the offer a relief since prepaid phones don't bind the users to contracts.
Still ahead, the lights are going out on one of the country's largest electronic retailers.
And that could mean big deals on plasmas and other gizmos and gadgets starting tomorrow. Circuit City's big sell-off coming up next.
All right, Colleen, then coming up tonight here on the Channel 4 News at 11 o'clock, an investigation into our top story. A husband and wife vanished from a cruise ship. Now the FBI is involved in this. We'll have the latest on it tonight. Also, a salmonella outbreak tied to peanut products takes on a growing sense of urgency. Hundreds of cases, and now 6 people have died. Those stories and all the late-breaking news tonight after the season premiere of Friday Night Lights. Then Dateline NBC on Southern California's local news leader, the Channel 4 News at 11.
News is sponsored in part by Honda. Test drive a 2009 Honda at your Honda dealer.
They are at it again. The Fed is funneling billions of dollars more to bail out 2 of the nation's largest banks. Bank of America is getting another $20 billion in financial aid. That's on top of the $25 billion it already received. B of A says it needs the extra cash after it inherited more than $15 billion in losses when it bought Merrill Lynch. Today, Citigroup reported more than $8 billion in losses for the fourth quarter. The financial giant also announced that it'll separate its banking units from its other operations. The Fed's announcement that it would back up to $301 billion worth of loans for Citigroup.
And Circuit City is going out of business. The bankrupt company wasn't able to find a buyer and will now have to close more than 500 stores. This will leave some 30,000 people without jobs. Channel 4's Mary Parks with details.
For nearly a year, Circuit City had been trying to refinance its debt, but the hobbled credit market and consumer worries proved too much. The company's CEO said this was the only possible path after Circuit City failed to find a buyer.
I heard the news. It's very shocking. Probably just going to focus on school. I guess look for another job.
The liquidation of Circuit City comes on the heels of the worst holiday shopping season in 4 decades. Consumers have slashed spending as they worry about job security and retirement funds. Ryan Rubin says he plans to stick around through the liquidation, then look for another sales job.
The recession just hit everybody. You know, it's just kind of hard to stay up at this point in time. As far as management, they laid it to me really cool. Couldn't really say that, I felt like I've been done wrong in any way. However, it's just sad,
The company still needs final approval for the liquidation from the courts, but analysts, meantime, are saying this will have a very large impact on commercial real estate across the country. Circuit City used to be the anchor store for this strip mall, but now the store's 30,000 square feet sit empty. Experts say the abandoned store will likely cause nearby lease rates to plummet.
Most of the lenders are so conservative. Everyone's scared to go out and take a risk with anybody. But at a certain point, there is, I think right now, even a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of people that want to get buildings. And I think eventually someone's going to go, okay, I'm going to take a chance.
But that will be too late for Circuit City employees like Zach Sumter.
I just think it's the way the economy is. I mean, just depression right now, and that's just what's happening.
Over the past 60 years, Circuit City built itself into the nation's second largest electronic chain. The owners now estimate the name will disappear altogether by mid-March. Mary Parks, Channel 4 News.
And that'll do it for us on this Friday. Coming up next, Brian Williams, the NBC Nightly News, with more on that landing on the Hudson River.
And we'll see you back here tonight with all the late-breaking news. Have a good evening.